Hello and welcome back to Strive Defense Dialogue. We have General Ajay Chaturvedi with us today. We are going to talk about a monumental geopolitical shift that is right now going through. The United States, once India's most vocal strategic partner, has hit us with 50% tariff on imports. It has publicly criticized our Russian ties and at the same time quoted Pakistan's military leadership. In fact, this is going to be the second visit which General or rather Field Marshal Asif Munir is going to undertake to the US. On the other hand, China, despite our unresolved borders, is offering warmer diplomatic signals. And right in the middle of this, India has quietly declined to go ahead with US defense purchase like P-81. There are also signals that India may not go ahead with C-17 Globemaster and the Skylar anti-defense weapon systems. Sir, at the same time, we've signed a memorandum of understanding on 11 different things with Russia as late as yesterday. So Moscow is also signaling that it still wants to be in our core circles. Somebody had very rightly said, where that world will need India. No country in the world today can continue by not trading with India. Sir, my question to you is that we have spent over 2 decades building strategic convergence with the US. Now, what has happened in Trump 2.0? What has gone wrong? Is it just a bully, or he is building up his own camp to have a favorable negotiation when they come onto the table, sir? Over to you before we go ahead so that we put the things in context.
Actually, Rakesh, we must see the history of US with its allies or anyone who, say, comes with US. You know, US relationships are not relationship of equals. It's always a relationship of a protector and a protected. That kind of a thing, that big brother relationship. ये रिलेशनशिप अमेरिका का जो पॉलिसी रही है, और पिछले दो मतलब अबाउट से 25 years, उसमें क्या ये रिलेशनशिप kept on building with India because the trade relations, because of their effort, US effort to kind of check China. Because China, which was a collaborator with them, has suddenly turned out to be a competitor. Post Nixon's visit in 72, China had become a collaborator just to kind of defang the then Soviet Union, and which ultimately in 91 it imploded. And after that, in last about say 30 years or so, China has emerged as a competitor. So this kind of a experience has told them that nobody should grow so big that it starts challenging their authority. India has always been maintaining strategic autonomy in its relationship with any other country. This has been our history right from the 50s, when during Korean War or Vietnam War, we maintained a kind of a strategic autonomy. We did not join any camp. Now, with this kind of a thing, things started soaring between India and US once India started buying, despite their effort, oil from Russia.
Yeah.
Now, this Russian oil has given us an advantage of almost 9 to $10 billion. And we are not only buying that oil, we are also supplying it to rest of the world. So world market is also kind of a stabilized. But India has done a smart act, which we will come to know a little later, that instead of earlier 27 countries we were buying oil, now we are buying from 40 countries. Yes, it is true that since 22 it has become 35% to 40%
Yes.
from Russia. Now, this is where Americans are pissed off. The reason is, to my mind, one of the major reason is that in Trump's campaign, this oil companies of US, they helped him quite substantially. So now he wants to return that favor. He wants India to buy oil from them.
Correct.
Why should we buy more expensive oil? What they are trying to tell us that it should be an overall relationship you must see. No, that is not true. If I'm getting a better deal from Russia, why should I go to US? That is one part of it. Now the second part is that the trade relations between us during February when Modi went to US, and one of the things which emerged was that by 2030 they want the trade to go to say $500 billion, and for which they said that FTA would be signed by 1st August. Now, in that, there are two, three very kind of thorny issues. One is agriculture. There are about say 40 to 44% of Indian labor is in agriculture sector.
Agriculture.
So, in case if you and then genetically modified if seeds come, dog seed, and then it has environmentally also affect us, but it will affect our farm sector quite substantially. Can India, a democracy, 44% of its labor force, which is there in this agriculture sector, it's a very, very sensitive issue for India. Second area which they wanted to enter was they wanted relief was in dairy sector.
Dairies.
Now, there are two issues in dairy sector. One is that the the milching element, cattle in US, they are fed on meat. So, which is a cultural issue with India. And also, this is one sector that fisheries and milk, we cannot, because the same issue holds, because India is the largest producer of, say, milk in the world today. And one of the major area is Gujarat. So, can government of India afford? So, these are the two reasons, one, why the trade deal started failing. Now, let's come to now third area, which was Sindoor. Now, during Sindoor, what Americans tried to, firstly, they hyphenated India with Pakistan, which is not to the liking of India. India has said that Indo-Pak relations are bilateral, and we were the victim of terrorism, whereas Pakistan, as it proved by America also as well as UN designating TRF, which has owned the responsibility of the Pahalgam, declared as a terrorism. So how can we accept that? Now he started saying he took the responsibility. Obviously, India is not going to accept it. Again, it's a question of strategic autonomy. So India, though we did not go to that extent which our opposition parties wanted, which was non-diplomatic response, that calling some president of some country, a friendly country, as a liar or something. No, it is not. Uh, they should say, we said that no call was done during this period. Also, that no country approached us. Simple. And this is where the things stand. America
Right,
has
sir.
not liked it. Today, Rubio has given a statement that we did help. We were engaged because they were engaged for their own interest in Pakistan. Be it F-16 safety of
there seems to be an issue with the connection of Jan Chaturvedi. So I would continue with the dialogue. What Jan Chaturvedi was primarily saying was that the trust or lack of trust was building over a period of time. And this had to happen. But my point is that could this be a historical opportunity for India to change its course, and instead of relying too much on the US, could the tariff and the criticism nudge New Delhi towards closer engagement with Beijing, despite the border tensions that are going on? If we see from Chinese point of view, they see India as both a trading partner as well as a regional rival. It has recently sought to rebuild ties after 2020 Galwan clashes. China also probably has a reason to come closer to India, because they are now looking at an opportunity to ensure that Delhi does not align fully with the West. Now, this was the question I was to ask General Chaturvedi. I'm hoping for him to join soon. Now, in this turbulence, India is facing a strategic dilemma. Should we align with one power, or continue hedging between them, or pursue a more independent course anchored in self-reliance and technological leadership? Now, this great power rivalry and trade friction, it actually began with the trade tariff war between the US and China. Now, there was Washington's unpredictable tone towards New Delhi, which has shaken India's economic and security alignments. Sir, while your connection was off, I was talking about that could this be taken as a historical moment where all this, what is happening, could nudge India closer to China first? What are your views on this, sir? I'll request you to please express that.
Okay. So, where I was, one thing which, let me just finish that portion. The next area was BRICS. BRICS pissed him off quite substantially, because de-dollarization, he is feeling threatened about it. Because if India, China, and Russia join, and the kind of foreign exchange reserves these three countries have got, US would be in trouble. So BRICS, he wants to add the tariff. And last is that he is trying to take credit for all these stopping these wars, and where India is not helping him. Indo-Pak war, it didn't help. It did not help him. Ukraine-Russia war. So because of this, and it's all double speak. Frankly speaking, he has not stopped his trade with Russia. So now this is one part of it. And even in US, there are a lot of people against him. Nikki Haley, like one, that Senator Meeks of Democratic Party. So that the bipartisan consensus is there that this is relationship which should not be stopped. Today, Antonio Guterres also set against it. So that is one part of it. And so, as far as, but Trump is presently is not backing down, notwithstanding whatever is being said otherwise. Now, coming to a question that this kind of a thing. So, India's options. Let's see what are the India's options. One is that it meekly accept. We are not doing it, which Modi has given, Prime Minister has given very clearly indication that I will go down, but then I will not accept.
Sir, there is a precedence. There is a precedence in the past also, sir. If you recall, FTT was one incident.
2019 we did the
Pokhran
same thing.
blast was
Yes,
another when the sanctions were put. We survived that time. I'm sure now we are
and
in a much better state.
much better situation. So at 0.2 to 3% of GDP will impact. So now option is one is so that is it is we will not meekly surrender to US. The second option is that we improve our relationships with EU, because with Australia and England we already have FTA. Now the second is that EU. Now EU, now that will get expedited. But will EU support us? That's a $1 million question, because EU is also under a lot of influence of
The
US.
US.
So we may have, so willy-nilly the problem. So our options keep getting reduced. One, of course, is that we have to go hammer and tongs on our Atmanirbhar Bharat, but
Yes.
that has its own moment of inertia and it will take time. It's not going to happen one day कि भाई कल से हम आत्मनिर्भर भारत हो गए. We can keep saying, although we have done a good job in Sindoor, but subsequently also we need to have a lot of other things. So now
Sir, primarily
China
why
China and
yes.
Russia thing, which you have mentioned, is a very beautiful thing, because what India has in recent past also done. When G404 issue was there, we suddenly Wangi and Doval's dialogue, and S. Jaishankar and Wangi's dialogue, and suddenly that border issue was substantially addressed in November
Yes.
24. And now, as a consequence, the Depsang and Demchok issue, which were earlier quite terrible, now we can go as we were doing patrolling earlier. Now, there's another thing which has happened recent times. During this last meeting of S. Shankar with the what is it called, Wangi.
Wangi.
One, with China has started giving us couple of things. They have started giving us. They have started sharing data on trans-border rivers, which from
Yes.
Doklam they had stopped. That is
Correct.
one thing. India has opened the traffic, so that pilgrimage thing, as China has opened that. India the flight has resumed. Certain limited trade also has also come in, some $1 billion or something which has happened.
No,
So
so the
now,
biggest thing is our defense minister, our NSA, our foreign minister, everybody has been within last about 2 months, and there is reports of prime minister also attending SCOs,
SU SU
and
meeting,
he's meeting Xi Jinping on the sidelines of SCO on 31st of August.
and not only with Xi Jinping, he is also meeting Putin during this period. So
Correct. He's
therefore,
meeting Putin, and then Putin is coming to India also. That is also
by end of this month, this is what NSA's visit has
correct.
brought up. So now,
Absolutely.
India, that RIC, chances of RIC getting
Yes.
rejuvenated, that is Russia, India, China,
And sir,
because
I, now that you have mentioned RIC, sir, I'll tell you very interesting. I want you to analyze on a very interesting thing. Russia, India, China. Now it's a triangle. Actually, all three are also, there is a sort of some hedging going on between, because Russia wants to improve relations with China, correction, India, because he wants to ensure that he is not solely dependent on China for everything. Because as of now, if India is out, the relationship is only between the two. China also wants India so that Russia cannot bully. So there is very interesting triangle that is forming. Another thing I'll substantiate, sir. If you see Foreign Minister Wangi's statement, very interesting. He says that the present positive momentum in relation is hard won, and he urged the two sides to trust each other rather than suspect each other. So the words also are actually, it seems in a very, very interesting way, the way Chinese put it across. He is actually saying, let's go ahead with the normalization of relations.
now, Rakesh, in this Three issues I will flag. A, the it is no secret now that substantial effort of Russia is being supported by China even in Ukraine.
Correct, sir.
This so one question which Indians are seized with, that in case of any kind of a future conflict between India China, what would be Russia's role? So this is we need to be we need to guard against. Second thing is, one of the major thing was that China had done, and that is how we were trying to reduce dependence on China by going to US. They were dumping, and that is how they were impacting our economy. So now today a situation is there, $131 billion say equivalent trade is there between India and China, and we cannot reduce it immediately because our pharma industry, our steel industry, a lot of industries would be. And one of the major thing is, will China give us rare earth? Now
Yes.
they have taken a state control. So because of that, yesterday that Bajaj Auto had said that we are revising our targets and our for the future for EVs. So the EV thing is going to get impacted. So now that is second part of it. And third, there is another thing which I would say, we are totally missing one major player in the whole thing is Iran. Iran has got a X to grind against US. Iran also has an interest to ensure that North-South corridor becomes effective.
Yes.
That can happen only because of Indian support at Chabahar, Chabahar Zaidan, Zaidan Zaransh, Zaransh Delaram, Delaram to Tajikistan onto Russia. And that is Russia's interest is also there. So with this kind of a thing, what is emerging is, and India, now my suggestion would be that I totally agree with one point, that again taking that American dictum, that interests are permanent, friends are not. So for all these years, because of American interests, because America still needs an Indo-Pacific India.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can say anything, but I am sure that stated aim of China that by 2027 we will annex Taiwan, and annexation of Taiwan by China would be a major, huge setback in Eastern and say Western Pacific quite substantially. So therefore,
That could that could be the beginning of fall of superpowers, sir.
yes. So therefore, and just to ensure that that does not happen, LAC being quiet and peace and tranquility is not in American interest.
It is not,
So
sir.
that is one thing where we will have to say American interests come. So therefore, to my mind, there is no doubt that it's a good option that we must improve now with China, because that's the
Right, sir.
only hedge against US
Yes.
this dadagiri, hedge against US by having a good relations, because you just see two small things, and Americans, the G404 has started coming. The deal on 414 is also likely to be signed. Now, the moment you have said that P-81 will not be purchased, I think Boeing is going to put some sense in POTUS's mind कि भाई साहब ये इतना आसान नहीं है, थोड़ा सा जागो. So therefore, then my sense is that in short term maybe he will earn some tariff जो भी उसको करना है, but long term it is going to impact him substantially because his own consumers are going to be impacted. So
Absolutely.
on account of their industry suffering, on account of their consumers suffering, America cannot afford. And that is why there's a bipartisan consensus in US also, substantial people. I will not say there's some MAGA people are also there,
Yeah.
but substantial people are there, like people like Nikki Haley and Meeks and all those things, that who do not want this situation to go out of hand. And
Sir,
Indo-China issues. When we talk of Indo-China issues, we have to talk in terms of that what will happen to Dalai Lama issue, because that is one of the very important issue between India and
no, no,
China.
that is also very interesting leverage, which probably we should very subtle way we should use it.
Yes, yes,
We
that's
we
what I
should
was
use
just
that
coming.
leverage. Right, sir.
So that
Sir,
is a
there is a
very
romanticized view that India should, go with both, that is China as well as with the United States, but to extract benefits from both. Uh, but reality does not happen that way. Like now, recent this thing, tariff thing and all. So, how do you, what do you think we should do? Primarily, I'm coming to the point that should we trust China, because the border agreement that has happened, it does not include de-escalation and de-induction so far. Sir. Fine, there's
as
some sort of buffer zone has been created. Sir, my question is, these are the constraints which we have. So, can you quickly, sum up our discussion that what are the advantages and disadvantages of India going in exclusively with United States, China, or going for Atmanirbharta right from now? Though we may have to undergo economic difficulties, it may take time also. Till such time we arrive at that indigenization of the entire weapon platform and our procedures, what do we do in the interim times? So quickly, sir, I want you to say that how exactly we should proceed towards strategic autonomy with power, not because of diplomatic niceties which we've been expressing so far.
my sense is that we can't totally go antagonistic to US. Let us be honest, because
Yes,
the investment of 25 years will just go waste, just because for another 4 years this man is there, 3.5 years he is there. So and this is his last tenure. So we must bid for our time, and we must not just let it totally go off uh, the rail. And that is one part of it. China trusting totally and fully is what Nixon said. Sir, not Nixon, Kissinger said that
Kissinger,
we can at our peril we can
ignore.
say totally trust China. No, because so long, you know, they will never be able to. Let us be honest, very clearly. Will China ever leave Aksai Chin?
No, no.
I mean, you have given the answer. Now, can India afford to come to a border solution where it says that China accepts McMahon line and we accept his claim line in
That will be
Ladakh?
a political suicide for whichever party is in power, sir.
So it will not happen. So this border issue of Indo-China is an intractable issue. Unless that issue is resolved, nothing can happen. That is one. Second is that there is a differential of technology is so much between India and China at this moment. The area in which you specialize now, AI and all those things, the deep seek and all those things because of that. So therefore, we need to have a kind of a understanding with China, basically to hedge against US. And not only China, even with Russia.
Sure.
Because let us be honest that in Sindhu time, Russians were not totally with you. They were not against you, but they were not with you also. So
Correct.
we can't afford, because 36% of trade, the arms and ammunition coming today, we can have to have leverage on China. We can have good relations with Russia by doing what? Because Russia is short of cash. And that is where the economy was supported by when we started buying oil. Now, they are prepared to do all kind of a technology transfers to us, and something like that BrahMos model in other things, they are also prepared for that kind of a thing. So they Indo-Russian relations will hedge against Chinese hegemonism in this region. But at the same time, for the time being, it is in our national interest that we should have reasonably good relations, peace and tranquility. Some model which Deng Xiaoping had given, that
Yeah.
keep the border issue for future generations,
Okay.
and let us engage. Let us engage in a manner so that Americans are disquieted, and then they support us. So that is what in the short term which will be there. But long term, yes, we need to go, and that is where one of the thing is in 11 MOUs which you were talking today of between India and Russia. Uh, some very interesting things have emerged. So we will have, and our industry is also doing. Tata Advanced Systems have started making the wings, since they are making fuselage for Rafale, and recently they have made the wings for Tejas also. So with this kind of the carbon fiber pact is a very important pact. The wind tunnel, because that means the
Yes.
testing of engines will be done now in India. So now that Kaveri, which was hamstrung because of every time it had to go to Russia and all those things, probably now testing can be done and improvement can be done. And Godrej is already on board on that. Godrej, and similarly
If you
there's some
if you permit, sir,
industry
I will quickly read out the 11 issues, the key memorandum of understanding between India and Russia that has been signed very recently. One is industrial modernization and technology transfer, where he talks about R&D in emerging manufacturing technology to support
check.
Make in India. Then
This is
strategic sectors.
this is a strategic move. You know,
Yes, sir, it is a
BrahMos,
strategic move.
and even Russians now they want BrahMos from us.
Absolutely.
So, and BrahMos, yesterday I was talking to the distinguished scientist who is taking care of BrahMos. He was there in one of the say panel discussions with me. So he said BrahMos is now the outer ring is only. Otherwise, we have done a lot of advantages, say changes. Now it is becoming hypersonic. So with this kind of a
Absolutely.
thing, the first MOU, because it gives a lot of faith to Russians also. And with this
Absolutely.
kind of a thing, he will also be benefited, because S-400, the way we used in Op Sindhu, even they are quite surprised because they have not been able to use it as effectively in Ukraine as we have been able to use against Pakistan. Yeah, second.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
So the
Other
second
two,
one is, yes, sir. I'll just think. The second one is in strategic, sir. That what you had mentioned about the wind tunnel and testing of engines. So that is another very important aspects. Just one sec, sir. I
for
think
our
I lost
Atmanirbharta.
connect.
For our because our engine will become now from
Or
this
yes, sir.
49 kiloton, it will become one major advantage.
Absolutely. So just one sec. I will try and load that presentation uh, for our viewers. And very interestingly, sir, they are talking about energy also. In addition to the oil, they will help us to take out the clean coal also, because energy is also, no nation can progress without the energy supports. So they have
Check.
in the
Let me give a very important aspect of it for our viewers. You know, India is still short of energy, and with a lot of energy we are borrowing from. Uh, I mean, buying from rest of the world, and still the fossil fuel is the
yes.
energy. But we have got
So
almost 50% our energy support is from coal. And this clean
yes,
coal technologies like ICC based systems and all those things, which will be very useful. Also, in energy, when we talk of one more thing, which is Russia, which is not emerging very clearly, is like Arihant class, that 80
yeah,
megawatt modular nuclear reactor. Russia had given the technology. And now we are going for that 100 gigawatt. So that will be another very useful area. Yeah.
Right, sir. Sir, quickly, strategic sector, we've spoken about aerospace and aviation technology. We are also
Talk of
piston
aerospace,
engine production, sir.
aerospace, that one is that you MRCA project, you go for 114 $10 billion project, and that will take its own time. But in the meantime, India has decided to upgrade its this Su 30 MKI, and
Yes.
that engine is going to be 177S, and Russia has agreed, and 25,000 crore project it is, because that will substantially help us to tide over our present crisis of less number of squadrons.
Okay. Sir, then in railways, then fertilizers and chemicals, aluminium and rare earth, sir. I wanted to bring this into
Yes.
consideration, sir. Rare earth, joint extraction, processing, trade of strategic minerals like bauxite, rare earth element critical to electronics, battery, and green technology.
I'll
And there
tell
is no
you.
doubt that Russia is probably the richest nation of the world as far as natural resources are concerned.
Siberia is a say mine of all this thing, but the India also
Absolutely.
has say 6 billion tons of this rare earth. But then our technology, we were taking easy options. We were taking from China. Now
Yeah.
with this kind of a say tie-up with Russia, that will help us with EV and all those things clean. So they're taking climate change also, and also in hydrogen, it will help. Then lithium, which we have got, but then still the technology has not been totally been
Hmm.
mastered. So with Russian support, we will be able to go. So this is another very important area which is there in this.
Yes. Now, another thing, this report that I had access to, sir, he says that it is a sort of strategic messaging that by signing this MOU at the time of diplomatic friction with the US, we have asserted our strategic autonomy once again.
There is no doubt on that, and this is a message to US that
Yes,
in case, we must call. We have already called US double speak when
yes,
they are buying fertilizers, uranium. Say almost this year, $22 billion of trade they had with Russia. So उनके ये खरीदने खरादने से यूक्रेन में लोग नहीं मर रहे हैं. वो हथियार जो
absolutely.
भेज रहे हैं उससे यूक्रेनियन रशियंस नहीं मर रहे हैं, क्योंकि
And
to sus
then, sir,
to
import,
Ukraine to sustain.
important thing that I felt was this diversification of supply chains. And like what you had said, we've had some sort of arrangements with Australia, with France, with EU, with Australia. Then, sir, let's not forget very important thing. We are not solely dependent on one thing. IMEC is a classic example where we said that okay, that where the choke points, especially those which may be controlled by China, they are not there in IMEC. So it is not only that you are sourcing resources, the transportation is also in the there's a diversification and which is available to you.
This Rakesh, in this there are three things more to be considered. In 2020, India had gone for a say with Russia an agreement, and that has given us Vladivostok, Chennai, sea link. And
Correct.
16 days has been cut down because of this sea link coming up. Now, if your relations with China they get thawed, so South China Sea will not be such a major issue. So
Yeah.
this is where your energy supply from your supply chain would be improved, and also all those areas of cooperation with Russia. That is one area. Second is in our say standoff with US. Israel has come out very clearly that I am with India, and if that is the case,
Yes.
IMEC will improve,
Yes.
because alpha it becomes, if it is operational, gets operationalized. So this IMEC means access to Europe, because it will land up in Piraeus in Greece. And once it lands up in Greece, the entire EU is in your range. So IMEC is second. Third is North-South corridor.
Absolutely.
So North-South corridor, which is already become quite effective, and in that case, Iran would be with you, Afghanistan would be with you, Central Asia will be with you, because they all will be earning revenue for the movement. So therefore, uh, India is not short of options that we have to say succumb under the pressure of US. We have our own options.
Sir, one last topic we'll touch before we start taking the questions, sir. Sir, how does Pakistan manage all this, remaining in the good books of the US as well as with China and Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and how is it? Is it purely because of the geopolitical advantage that Pakistanis have, or they have better diplomatic skills?
I don't think it's the diplomatic skills which are making the difference. To my mind, there are two reasons. One is its geography, which gives a kind of a leverage to China as well as to US. So that is one reason for this. So this is where it helps Pakistan quite substantially. Second area where which helps them, because the moment you started supporting Armenia, Azerbaijan, which otherwise was friendly to you, they became your enemy.
Yeah.
Now, third is, as far as Turkey is concerned, Turkey is fighting through Pakistan their war, their battle with the in Islamic world with the Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, it's something like India will never go against Nepal
Hmm.
because of the large Hindu population there. So Saudi Arabia, which say considers itself a kind of a protector of, I mean, they say that he is the protector of the two holiest of the shrine, Makkah and Medina. So therefore, he cannot go against Pakistan. So
Hmm.
it is the situation which is helping him quite substantially on these things. And lastly, it is unlike India. Pakistan was created only because of this, because Britishers
Yes.
realized that India will not be able to listen to their all
Diktat.
these rant,
Hmm.
submit to their desires. So it is a country because today it's economically almost broke. So therefore, if it is economically broke, so they getting, they say, अच्छा तुम्हें जो चाहिए हम तुम्हें दे देंगे. अभी तुम्हें नोबेल
Hmm.
चाहिए, ओके हम रिकमेंड कर देते हैं.
हाँ,
तुम्हें
हाँ,
क्रिप्टो करेंसी के लिए आ जाओ भाई.
हाँ.
Now they themselves are surprised by doing this kind of a thing, by aligning with US, and not to forget one very important reason. If Balochistan has to remain with Pakistan, it has to have a support of US, because the days America does not support Pakistan, Balochistan will become, and that will be a threat to, because they are not the government which is going to purely Islamic, though they will be remain Muslim.
But
But
Balochistan, even China would ensure that Balochistan continues the way it is.
so geography, and the resources in Pakistan which are there, essentially they are in Balochistan. Most
Yes,
of it
yes.
is at Pakistan. So it's not the diplomatic skill. It is that you are in that state that geography and other things factors are supporting you. So I don't think this, because to my mind, let's look at three things. 65, we had to go for ceasefire and accept unequal conditions because of Soviet Union's pressure.
Yes.
We had to surrender this Haji Pir and all those things.
RGP.
and it shocked so much that the then prime minister suffered a heart attack and he passed away and all those things. 71, we played our tricks well, and Soviet Union was with us, and that is why America could not do much to you.
Hmm.
In Kargil, we need American support. But today in Sindoor, despite all of them not being with you, may not be against you, but you're against, I mean, China, Turkey, and Azerbaijan. These were the only three countries that were against you. No other country was against you. But despite that, you achieved what you achieved.
Hmm.
And now everyone says that it was a. So India is no longer a pushover as it was in past. So that is why people are prepared to. So America and all are quite. And let us be honest, it is neither China nor Russia nor America. They will always be supporting you. But it is we have to play the chess game in such a way so that at least two of them are with you always.
Yeah,
Whether
absolutely.
it is Russia and
Ab-
America or Russia and China or US. So that is our diplomatic skill.
Absolutely. Sir, I think we'll take some question answers, sir. In fact, there are not much because I think there's been a large gap. Kalarpi Singh, how will India's policy of strategic autonomy be tested by the US hostile America first stance and China's shift to a softer, more pragmatic approach? Sir, I think partially you answered. He's
So we have already
wanting,
discussed.
we've
I,
already
I,
discussed, sir.
I think since I can't take RP lightly, I have to answer him.
No, he's
My
got
own.
another question, sir. I think that we will answer, sir. That we'll have another question because this partially we have answered, sir. Given, just one sec, sir. Given the
Given
US
USA,
strategic interest and China's deepening ties with Pakistan, what future course of action will India adopt to protect its national interest and maintain its geopolitical balance?
my again we have already substantially addressed this issue.
Yeah,
The fact is that right now Pakistan is in a doghouse. They have why I think Asim Munir has been summoned and he is going to US not for a fun or frolic. He has been summoned because and a stage has come when $60 billion invested into CPEC. China will not
yeah,
allow it to just go waste. And
absolutely.
if that be the case, China will try to woo back Pakistan, and America is trying very hard to get it to their side because that will give them a base. That, along with Bagram, will give them a base against Iran.
Afghanistan.
So
And
therefore, yeah, and also to Russia, also to
Afghanistan.
Russia. So my own sense is that we have to maintain, as we discussed just now, that there are three, I would say, there are three major say elephants in the room: Russia, China, and US. And we have to play our game. You know that one important lesson from history which emerges. There was a king called Hyder Ali. His son was Tipu Sultan.
Tipu.
Hyder Ali identified four his enemies. One was Nizam, second was Marathas, third were British, and fourth were French. All through his life, he never allowed them to come together. At least one or two were always against each other, and that's how his empire kept rising. Tipu, who was younger, a greater general, could not sustain it because he allowed four of them to come together.
Hmm.
Now, it will be a diplomatic challenge to India. How do we, in the short term, how do we manage to keep three of them till we become another pool ourselves
Yeah.
in international chess? That out of these three, two are with you always. And so there are options, as we discussed today, that Russia has got its reasons to be friendly with us. China has its own reasons to be friendly with us. US has its own. So POTUS or no POTUS, Americans you will see in another, say, few months, there will be because in America itself, because even Indian lobby is a strong lobby there.
Yeah,
It's a money lobby, so they
that is a
cannot.
very important aspect you're touching upon, sir. Because Trump may not find it so easy to push uh, this one-sided diktat on India.
India agenda. Yeah.
Sir, I think we've had a wonderful discussion. With your permission, I would like to sum up what we have discussed. What we have seen in the past month is a reminder of what you said, sir, that there are no permanent friends, there are only permanent interests. The US has shown that despite having strategic relations for more than 2.5 decades, it can turn transactional, even punitive. China can, on the other hand, can smile for cameras while reinforcing its position on our borders. Pakistan, as usual, remains a constant spoiler. But Russia is one country which is, as of now, itself sanctioned and strategically squeezed, but it still sees India as a partner worth investing in. I leave it to the viewers to make a decision. Whom should we trust the most? And like you said, there are three elephants in the room, so we have to and see that whom we should ensure. There is no denying the fact that ultimately it's the self-reliance which will make us powerful and make us stand against the bullies of the world. So thank you very much for being our guest.
One small addition.
Sir,
India's true potential will come if India remains united,
correct.
which for the first time post Sindoor suddenly it emerged that we were not united. So therefore, if somebody is saying the dead economy and somebody saying yes, yes, it is
Yeah,
dead economy, somebody saying so, we have to be, and it is the responsibility of the government of the day to ensure that we remain united, we remain together, and on national issues, at least consensus is maintained. That is what
absolutely.
internally.
Absolutely. These are the things which make a nation great. So we have to ensure that in case we all are want India to be superpower in near futures, and we are on our way. At least I don't know. At the cost of repetition, I will say this is a wake up call which we must now take up. That we have to invest in ourselves while maintaining a cordial relationship with others. Thank you very much, sir. And it was a wonderful discussion. We will be on here again on Monday with another topic. Till then, goodbye. And you're requested to please like, share, and comment. Thank you and good night. Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.